back home. So that takes me to kind of the last part of this talk. What do you need to find your way home? Comes to mind for me, I remember when I was in elementary school, and I'm the oldest of my mom's 7 children. So I had a lot of responsibility, and I was probably the first one in my household when we were younger to get a house key. I'm pretty sure I was. And I remember my mom told me how to get to school, how to walk to school. We went to the neighborhood school. And out. Once I learned and figured out the route, it was pretty easy to, get to school, get back home, because I always knew my way home. I knew where home was. The thing about wandering away from home is that there are so many different things that can take us away from home. There can be, a relationship. It can be a job. It can be a friendship. It can be stress. It can be all types of things that gets us out of our element, so to speak. And the way that you find your way back home is that you need to know how you got there in the first place, right? So you need a roadmap. And I'm referring to a metaphorical roadmap. The thing about having a roadmap, though, is that roadmap may reflect something different from what you used to get home in the first place. Okay, you got your roadmap, right? You know which route you took the very first time you found out where your home was, right? You know which route you took. Now, depending on how long it is that you've been gone and where it is you went to, you might try to get back home using that same exact route, but what you might find is that there's construction on this street that I normally take to get back home. Or, I'm looking around, there's some landmarks that I don't recognize because I've been gone so long. There's new construction in the area. There's some new buildings that have been built in this area. So what you'll find is that each and every time that you leave home, that you get away from yourself, which is what we're talking about, each and every time you get away from yourself, you will have to make some adjustments in order to figure out how to find your way back home. And you will have to make some amendments, so to speak, to your roadmap. Because you'll say to yourself, this is how I found my way back home the first time, or how I found out how to get home the very first time. But now that I've left and come back, okay, I need to take an alternative route this time. So that is, using your roadmap is how you will find your way back home. And once again, that roadmap might be different every single time that you come back home. And you may wander away from home several different times in this lifetime. So you may have to make some adjustments and some amendments to that roadmap each and every time. So the first thing you'll need is the roadmap. The second thing that you'll need a toolbox. And you'll need some stuff in your toolbox. You don't want an empty toolbox. You want to make sure that you have some stuff in your toolbox. So in your toolbox, you have tools, right? So think about this. Let's go back to this metaphor of home. When you leave your house for a long time and then you come back, it might be dust everywhere. It might be some stuff that's broken that needs to be fixed, some stuff that needs to be tightened up. You might need to repaint. Depending on how long you've been gone, your pets might be malnourished. It's all kinds of stuff you're going to need in this toolbox, depending on how long you've been gone for. But I want to bring it back to your relationship with yourself and you getting away from yourself, because that's really what wandering away from home, that's what it means. That's what we're talking about. One of the things that you're going to need to get back home to yourself is positive affirmations. I have positive affirmations all over my space. I'm trying to look at you can't see any where I'm sitting right now, but I have positive affirmations all over my space. One of the one of the most important spaces I have it is on my mirror in my bathroom. And I have positive affirmations there because that is one of the first spaces or places that I visit in the morning, and I have my positive affirmations kind of lined down my mirror. And one of the affirmations is that I give the love to myself that I give so freely to others. And that's really, really important because I'm a very giving person, but sometimes I forget to pour into myself. So positive affirmations. And that's why I really love this affirmations deck that I pulled out earlier, because I can pull one card a day. You know, what's an affirmation that I want to hold as I navigate this day? So positive affirmations. The second thing, a meditation practice. I think a meditation practice is very, very important because it allows you to reconnect with it. Look, reconnect with you. Reconnect with you. That's exactly what meditation is. It is you sitting with yourself, sitting with your thoughts, and really paying attention to and noticing whatever is coming up for you. So a meditation practice you will definitely need. Right now I'm on a streak of just about 90 consecutive days of meditation, which I'm very, very excited about. With meditation, you can break it down and say, you know what, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes a day, and then you can increase from there. But a meditation practice is very, very important. And if you find that sitting in silence, you know, like this is difficult for you, there are so many resources with guided meditations that you can use that are very helpful in you building and deepening your meditation practice. So the last thing, or not the last thing, look, y'all like, you're not gonna give us no more tools? It's not the last thing. The next thing that I want to give you is self check-ins. What I mean by that is that it's really what it says, checking in with yourself all throughout the day. As different things are happening, how am I feeling? What's coming up for me? What do I need right now? Those are examples of self check-ins or questions that you can ask yourself. So it's really important to check in with yourself. And where am I? You know, like how, because when you say where am I, then you can say, oh, I'm home. I'm home. Or you can say, you know what? I have wandered down the street to the neighbor's house and I need to get back home. So self check-ins is a way that you can really check in with yourself, connect with yourself, and figure out, okay, what do I need to do? What are my next steps? So that's something else to put in your toolbox. A gratitude practice. So I am very excited to share that I don't know what day I'm on right now, but I have completed 250 consecutive days of gratitude journaling, which I am extremely excited about. Very, very proud of myself for. It takes so much discipline, but y'all, it has been so impactful for me to have a gratitude practice and really train myself to look for the positive in every single day. And I'm going to be real with y'all, because I struggle with both anxiety and depression. And so some days in my gratitude journal, I might put, you know what? I got out of the bed today. I showered today. I ate today. And so those are, and that's still gratitude. You don't have to judge your gratitude practice. I started off my practice with saying, I'm going to list at least 3 things that I'm grateful for every single day. And if all I could list was 3 things, then that's okay. So you can start very small. I've listed as many as 30 things in one day that I was grateful for. So a gratitude practice is another way that you can find your way back home to yourself. The last thing, and perhaps the most important thing, and there's been this theme of this in this talk today, is love. And I'm talking about self-love. And I don't mean just saying I love you to yourself, which is a part of what I'm saying. I think is very, very important. And it may seem awkward at first. It did for me. But just saying I love you to yourself in the mirror, or as you're kind of, walking around the house, or you're cooking dinner, or whatever the case, just say I love you, or I love me, whatever resonates with you. But having a practice around saying I love you to yourself. I grew up in a family where we didn't say I didn't hear I love you a lot. And I'm at the point in my life where I realize I can say it to myself, and it feels just as good. It feels just as empowering. The other thing about love is that it's important that you love yourself in action. So what that means is that you show yourself love. It's not just in you saying I love you, but how do you show yourself that you love yourself? One of the ways that you do that is through a practice of self-compassion. And one of the ways that you can do that is to just, and you can say this aloud to yourself, or you can say it silently. Just say, you know what? I made a mistake and it's okay. Or you can say, I'm going to be okay. Or you can say, next time I do this, I want to do it this way, right? You don't have to beat yourself up or to blame yourself for when you don't get something. I don't even want to say right, because right is subjective, but you don't have to beat yourself up. You can still be kind to yourself even when you don't do things the way that you might have liked to do them. The other thing, and I think this is a really good way to end this. Another way that you can show yourself love, and I'm gonna put my crystal down. You can hug yourself. Come on, right now, while y'all watching this video, hug yourself. Hug yourself as tight as you possibly can. Listen, I walk around the house, I'm hugging myself, I'm saying I love you to myself, because that is how you show yourself love. That is how you find your way back home to yourself. So that's what I have for y'all. We've gone over what and where is home. We've talked about how do you know when you have wandered away from home. And then lastly, we talked about how you can find your way back home to yourself. And I want to leave you with something. For those of you who don't know this, there is a home that exists inside of yourself that you can revisit and you can nurture as much as you need to, as often as you need to. And I also want you to know that you can always find your way back home. No matter how long you've been gone for, no matter how far away you've gone, you can always find your way back home to yourself. So that is what I have for y'all. Next, before we move on to close our time together out, I want to share with you a journaling or reflection question. Whenever I listen to like a TEDx talk, or I'm watching a video, I want to leave with something like, okay, what's in my toolbox what's extra in my toolbox that I'm kind of walking away with. So I wanted to leave y'all with a journaling or reflection question, something just for you to think about and process after this. And that is, when do you feel most at home, and how can you create space in your life to do those things more? So that is what I have for y'all. I look forward to connecting with y'all again soon. But in the meantime, reconnect with you. Namaste.